So what we'll do this evening is, for session 10, is we're going to do a revision of the ability form of verbs. I leave it up to you to decide whether or not to use the koto ga dekimasu or the changing of the verb. And then I'd like to introduce na adjectives, which will bring us on to things like I like and I dislike. We'll do a lot of practice of those. We've got some quite challenging examples we can work on. And as there's so few of us, we might have time at the end to introduce a new grammatical form called nara, which is in the case of. It starts to get us onto the conditional, onto the conditional form. So if, then, kind of sentences. Okay, so let's begin with some warming up, shall we? So we'll start with you, Tom. Let's start in reverse order, actually, I think. And guys, remind me if, oh, it's Annika. Remind me if you've done any of these in the previous session. Hi, Annika. You're just in time. We're just about to start. Okay. So, Tom, how would you say, I cannot work because I'm tired? Let's have the long version first, though. I cannot work.
If I can do already one version. Skaveta. Kara.
Good.
Cannot work. Shigoto. O. And then suvu. It was an exception. Suvu.
Yeah, it's the verb to be able to.
The exception was shivu ga dekimasu.
No, just dekimasu. So dekimasu.
Dekimasu. Yeah, that was it. So I'll try again. Skaveta kara shigoto ga dekimasu.
I cannot work.
Dekimasen.
Yes.
Shigoto ga dekimasen.
Excellent. Shigoto ga dekimasen. Good. Good. Joel, how would you say, I cannot cook Chinese food? I cannot cook Chinese food.
Remind me again, how would you say Chinese food?
Chuka is Chinese culture, and then ryori is, of course, food. Yeah.
So, chuka ryori o dekimasen.
Good. Actually, yeah, you could just say chuka ryori, but not o dekimasen, but
Ga. Chuka ryori ga dekimasen.
Yes, good, excellent. How would you say, I cannot make Chinese food? So using the verb to make. Do you remember this?
To make would be tsukau.
Tsukuru. So tsukau is use.
Tsukau is use. Okay.
Tsukuru is make. Yes.
Chuka ryori ga tsukaremasen.
Nearly. That was Chinese food does not get tired.
Okay.
Which is kind of true. You can eat Chinese food nearly every day.
Okay, tsukare, how, I forget the...
Yeah, it's funny actually. Yari had exactly the same problem with this morning. So it's because we're not writing it down and reading it, guys, which is normally a good way for learning how to pronounce a word. Let's learn how to do it, how to get the right pronunciation by visualizing the hiragana, or even just the syllables, it doesn't matter. So the infinitive of the verb is tsukuru. Tsukuru. Yeah. So it's a group one verb. So it's the ru which is going to change into a
tsukuremasen.
Yes, good.
Okay.
Tsukuremasen. Yes, excellent. Chuka ryori ga.
Chuka ryori ga tsukuremasen.
Excellent, good. And Andre, how would you say, next week at school I can play chess with you?
来週学校でチェスができます。
Yeah, exactly. Chess ga dekimasu. Simple. Yeah, good. Manuel, how would you say, it's so noisy that I cannot sleep?
It's urusai.
Good. Yeah,
Okay.
urusai. Yeah.
Urusai desu kara neraremasen.
Excellent. urusai desu
う
kara.
るさいですから寝られません。
Excellent. Neraremasen. Do you remember did we do the when you were here at last week's one? Did we do the using the te form of the
Uh,
e-verb?
いや、うるさくて寝られません。
Excellent. Urusaku te neraremasen. Good.
Okay.
Simon, how would you say I can't open the door over there? I can't open the door over there.
Asoko, right?
Yeah.
But then, okay, so door, do you say just a door or
Yes,
do you?
Door.
Okay.
Door. Yeah.
Can you say asoko door, just the door over there, or does it need
Yeah.
a part?
So there's actually two ways you can do this. You can use ano door, which means that door over there.
That one, yeah.
Or you can say asoko no door, means the door in that place over there. Both of these
with the
are
possessive, yeah. Okay.
Exactly, yeah.
But then, okay, then ano do ga, what's open again?
Akeru.
Akeru, akeraremasen.
Excellent.
Ano do ga akeraremasen.
Perfect. Ano do ga akeraremasen. Great, thanks, Simon. And then Annika, how would you say, because I'm tired, I can't get up? Because I'm tired, I can't get up.
Tired was
Skaremashita.
Skaremashita. Skaremash, but it's the negative? The
No, that's past tense.
past.
So it means I have tired. It means I have
Okay.
tired. Yeah.
Skaremashita desu kara.
So you don't need des because
Des.
skaremashita is a verb. So you don't need des.
Okay, skaremashita kara.
Good.
Yeah, getting up is
This is okiru, and it's a group 2 verb.
Okiru is okiru re okirure ra
So let's just use this this visualization of the syllables again. It's okiru. This is a group 2 verb. So like with all group 2 verbs, the ru just gets thrown in the bin, and then you're left with oki, and then you have to make the potential.
Okiraremasen.
Perfect. Okiraremasen.
Skaremashita kara okiraremasen.
Excellent. Skaremashita kara okiraremasen. Good. So just to get everybody on the same sort of level, this because of A then B, just like any languages, just like all languages, there are lots of different ways of expressing this. You can slightly vary the formality of the sentence. You can make it about the same level of formality, but just make it a bit smoother. And we did a few of these this morning, actually. So, Annika, the way that you just used is probably the longest way that you can make this sentence. Skaremashita kara okiraremasen, which is fine. This is really, really simple, and you should have this in your toolbox of sentences and ways of saying things, because this is just a way where it's almost impossible to make a mistake. What I think Tom said, was it you, Tom, wasn't it? Yeah. He said skareta kara okiraremasen. So this is the plain form of the past tense. So it's almost exactly the same as what you said, Annika, except instead of saying skaremashita, you said skareta. Skareta just means skaremashita. It's just informal, and then we put kara on the end and said okiraremasen. So the politeness level of the sentence is more or less dictated by the last verb. Another Dozo?
So tsukaremashita is the more formal way, or
Yes.
okay,
yeah.
and tsukaremasen is
That's
no,
just a negative of the
it's-
yeah.
so the other option was tsukaremashita.
Scaretta.
Scaretta. Okay.
Yeah. Scaretta. Another option is to make, so if you say scaretta kara okiraremasen, it then just makes the sentence a little bit unbalanced because we've got an informal verb at the beginning and a formal verb at the end. And so to make this join a little bit more like it's one sentence, you can say tsukarete. So you make it into the te form, tsukarete kara okiraremasen. So this now makes it because I'm tired, I can't get up, but in a much more consistent way of making the sentence. If you wanted to say, so sorry, this sentence means tsukarete kara okiraremasen. As I can't get up, as I'm tired, I can't get up. Now, listen to this sentence in English, and then you'll understand what I mean. I'm tired and I can't get up. I'm tired and I can't get up. Now, this isn't talking about two different things, like my name is Andy and I drive a car. These aren't two disconnected things. This is basically saying, because I'm tired, I can't get up. I'm tired and I can't get up. So in this case, we could almost just use tsukarete okiraremasen. Tsukarete okiraremasen. So there's no kara, there's no node or anything like this. Tsukarete okiraremasen.
So
It's a very
like, sorry.
No, go ahead.
So like having two adjectives together to describe one, like the same.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, precisely.
Okay.
Yeah. It does make the sentence very short. It's very neat. It's probably not because of the fact that we've kind of made the sentence as short as possible. It's not the most formal way of saying it, but it is grammatically consistent, and it's a perfectly fine way of saying this. Yes. Okay. What time is it? 14. Let's do a few more examples just so that we've got this ability under our belt. So, Tom, how would you say I can get off the bus myself? I can get off the bus myself.
Bus ni get office. Ovivu?
It is.
Bus ni jibun de oriraremasu.
Yes.
Yes,
Only trouble is that you said bus ni. You can't use
Ga.
ni. Yes.
That's bus ga jibun de oriraremasu.
Good. Yes. Bus ni. Bus ga jibun de oriraremasen. Good. Thanks, Tom. Joel, how would you say I cannot forget this experience? I cannot forget this experience.
Experience is
Keiken.
keiken and forget.
Wasureru,
Wasureru.
which is a group 2 verb.
この経験が忘れる 忘れられます。
And cannot. I cannot.
忘れられません。
Good. Yes. この経験が忘れられません。
この経験が忘れられません。
Perfect. Excellent. Thank you. Andre, how would you say, because it is cold, I cannot feel my fingers? Because it is cold, I cannot feel my fingers. Andre, are you talking? Because I can't hear you at all. Maybe your mic's not on. There we go.
今は
はい、大丈夫です。聞こえます。
今大丈夫です。
はい。
The long version or the short version?
Let's do the long version first, shall we? And then do the short version after.
Okay. 寒いですから自分の指が感じられません。
Good. Excellent. Samui desu kara, jibun no yubi ga kanjiraremasen. Good. And then how would you do this short version?
寒くて自分の指が感じられません。
Good. Yes. Samukute yubi ga kanjiraremasen. So this is again using the te form to say it's cold and I cannot feel my fingers. Yeah. With the nuance being because it is cold, I cannot feel my fingers. Good. Thanks, Andre.
Sorry,
Yeah.
Andy.
Go ahead, Simon.
Is that ku, samuku, is that the same as you use for the adverb?
So actually,
Or does
Andre
it
said
actually make a verb out of it?
it's samukute.
Samukute.
Yeah.
Yes,
So
but-
it's purely making it's a connector for e adjectives. So, for example, if you wanted to say my sword is long and heavy, you say watashi no katana ga nagakute omoi desu. So this is just like an and between long and heavy.
So it doesn't actually have a verb then in the first
Correct.
part. Okay.
Yes, correct. Yeah, it's just saying. I mean, in the long version, there also wasn't exactly a verb. There was des, so it was a statement.
Yeah.
But in this case, we're just saying samukute. It's cold,
Cold
and I
and
can't feel my fingers.
Mm.
Yeah,
good.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
good. Manuel. Oh, sorry, Annika. Did you have a question? Sorry. Manuel, how would you say, I cannot believe her. I cannot believe her.
Believe it was
Shinjiru.
shinjimasu?
Yes, good. Yeah, shinjimasu.
Okay.
Good.
彼女は信じられません。
So what's
No.
the actual topic of the sentence?
I can't believe her.
What's the main topic? What's the overall topic of the sentence? What's the theme?
Her.
How would you say this in English, this sentence?
I can't believe her.
So what's the first word of that sentence?
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So, 彼女が信じられません。
Perfect. Kanojo ga
Yeah.
shinjiraremasen. Manuel, remember this ya and ja?
Yeah,
Yeah.
You will be telling me this every day.
No problem. Okay.
信じられません。
Oh, actually, that bit was okay. It was the kanojo.
彼女。Okay.
Kanojo ga
Yeah. Okay,
shinjiraremasen.
彼女. Okay.
Good. Excellent. Simon, how would you say? Sorry, excuse me a second. Oh, because it's early, I cannot go home yet. Because it's still early, I cannot go home yet.
Yes. Because it's still early. Yeah, I don't remember the words. So
Sure.
both the still and early.
Okay, so still is mada,
Yeah.
and early is the same as fast. So what would that be? Do you remember fast?
Yes, I should. Hi.
Aye.
Hi, right.
Aye,
Right. Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
So just in the long form, because it's still early, I cannot go home yet.
Mada hayai desu kara kaeremasen.
Yes, perfect. Mada hayai desu kara kaeremasen.
Kaeremasen.
Or you could say hayai desu kara mada kaeremasen. Both. You can put the yet somewhere in there. So still, mada means both still and yet in the sentence. It's the same. You can use
Yeah,
it in both
okay.
instances. Yeah. Good.
Okay.
Thanks, Simon. And then Annika, how would you say, because my legs hurt, I cannot stand up. Because my legs hurt, I cannot stand up. In the long form first, please.
Ashi. Hurt was
Itai.
itai. Yeah. Ashi ga itai desu kara. Stand up is
Tatsu. Tatsu.
tatsu. Tatsu. Tatemasen.
Good. Yes, exactly. Hey, those one more time.
Ashi ga itai desu kara.
Yeah.
Tatemasen.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Ashiga itai desu kara tatemasen. And then how would you make the shorter version of this sentence, do you think?
Ashi ga itai oh god, itai itakute and then tatemasen.
Yeah, good. Ashiga itakute.
So it's itai and cut off ve.
Good.
And then ku, also set the ku at the end, and then de or te.
No, it's actually, so this is kind of one clause. It's kute.
Kute, okay.
Yeah. Itakute.
Okay. With a double T?
Oh no, just one.
Oh, just okay. Okay.
Hey, one more time, please.
Ashi ga itakute tatemasen.
Good. Ashi ga itakute tatemasen. Good. Guys, I'd like you, just as a final run through, I'd like you to now say that, tell me I can speak, and then tell me the language that you can speak. So we'll start with Joel.
ポルトガル語を話せます。
Good. Tom?
How do you say Dutch? Nederlandisch?
Actually, so I know that this isn't accurate, but this is how the Japanese say it. They say Orandago, and I know that Netherlands doesn't mean. I know that Holland doesn't equal Netherlands, but they say Orandago.
Okay. Orandago ga hanashite.
No, not hanashite. That means please speak.
I can hanashimasu.
I can speak. I'm able to.
The verb is hanasu, so we go down, hanase.
Good.
And then mas, so hanasemasu.
Yes, exactly, yeah.
What did I say?
Hanashite, I think.
Hanasemasu.
Yes.
Orandago ga hanasemasu.
Good. Orandago ga hanasemasu. Simon?
ドイツ語が話せます。
Good. Manuel?
スペイン語
Surprisingly.
が話せます。
Good. And Andre?
はい、
How many do you know?
広東語や英語やドイツ語や日本語や少しハンガリー語ができます。
Oh, hanasemasu ne?
はい。
Hi. So if you put ya, are there any other languages? This means that there are some other languages that you can speak as well. Is that what you meant?
エスペラント。
Oh, okay, Esperanto. Okay. And maybe COBOL and basic.
COBOL.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, good. And Annika?
ドイツ語が話せます。
Good. Deutsch ga hanasemasu. Excellent. Right. Any questions, guys, before we turn on to today's main theme? ないですか? Yosh. Let me just find the slide. There we go. Okay. Pointer. Okay. So let's go on to na adjectives. So I think probably the main thing to remember is that I've got a set of example na adjectives on the right here over here. But what I'd like you to start off by imagining that each of these words actually isn't initially an adjective, it's a noun. It's a noun. These are all actually nouns. So even though I've written the English as healthy, pretty, peaceful, these are all adjectives in English. But actually Genki doesn't by itself doesn't mean healthy. It means vigorous or healthful. So, it means vigor. Sorry, it means vigor or health. It's actually a noun. Kirei doesn't mean pretty. It means prettiness, attractiveness. Shizuka doesn't mean peaceful. It means peace or quietness. Suki doesn't mean likable. It means likability, the appeal of something. So all of these basically are all nouns. And if you saw today's Facebook posting on this, then you'll start to understand that, in fact, the way that these behave isn't the selection of them. It's what we put after them to decide if it's an adjective or a noun. But initially, I want you to imagine these as being nouns because the sentence construction makes them behave like nouns, which is my first point. They basically behave like nouns. Treat them as nouns. If I want to say I am well, I would just say genki desu, genki desu. So I am means I am vigor, but we can use it as an adjective. So putting na on the end, so genki na, makes it the modifier for a noun that comes afterwards. So I could, for example, I'll use this tablet. I can say that I like this tablet. This is a nice tablet. I can say, kono tabletu ga suki desu. Kono tabletu ga suki desu. Or I could say, kore wa suki na tableto desu. Suki na tableto desu. So just like e-adjectives, we can put the adjective before the noun, or we can put it after the noun. If it goes before the noun, then we have to put na on at the end to make it mean like. So pretty like and healthy like. This definition, whether it's a noun or an adjective, is pretty much determined by whether you put na on at the end or no. Now, I tried to do this a little bit this morning and then ran into some problems because I don't really know many examples of when you use no after these to make it a noun rather than adjective. But this link at the bottom of the page, which is on the slides that you can download, this has got a really nice introduction page. It explains it very clearly, how some of these na adjectives are more inclined to be used as nouns rather than as adjectives. Okay, is that okay so far, guys? So you can use them at the moment as an adjective in a similar way that we use the e-adjectives, either as a modifier before a noun, or you can put it at the end of the sentence without the na to make it still an adjective. If you want to use these in an adverbial sense, if you want to say to do it skillfully, then you put ni after these words. So you chop off the na and you put ni instead. This turns it into an adverb. If you want to connect lots of na adjectives into a sentence, then they, just like with the e adjectives, we used kute. With na adjectives, we connect them just with de. So we say the noun and then de. So nothing else at the end of the noun, no na or anything like this. We just put de there. And this becomes the te form of this adjective. Okay, so far, guys, we've got another slide to go. Okay. Oh, sorry, I've already said this. So there are these two sentence structures. This watch is likable, or this is a likable watch. So the only thing we have to really be careful of is to remember which one we're going to use, whether we're going to define it as an adjective with na, or a noun with no, an adverb with ni, or connect it together with de. LOL. Isn't it funny how Japanese can be sometimes really, really easy, and then it comes around and punches you in the face with a really actual simple kind of bit of grammar. Okay. Did everybody get a chance to have a copy of these adjectives? I can't see you all actually. Hang on a second. Let me just so I can see you all. If you didn't, can you unmute yourself and say? Good. Okay. I'll assume you've got them all.
I do have a copy, but I have a small question about the no particle.
Why do you have to have a question about this? I don't know the answer. Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
No, just because you say these are basically nouns by themselves. So
Yes.
genki means vigor or health.
Yes. Correct. Yeah.
Then what is genki no? To me, that sounds like a possessive.
Yeah. So what it actually means is that the thing that comes after no means that this is basically a part of this thing. So I was trying to think of a good example for this. So for example, see we've got taisetsu, which means important, and say we use the word rule, so an important rule. I don't think actually you would use taisetsu na rule. I think you would say taisetsu no rule, because it's not that the rule looks like it's important. The rule actually is important. So that might be an example where you'd have taisetsu no ruro kisoku. I'm trying to think of another example.
So it's basically always in connection to another noun.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
okay,
Yeah, it says that this is kind of a subset, a bit like the possessive of this. Benrino hitsuyo
But can you just to explain this? How would you say health is important?
So actually, we wouldn't use genki because this means kind of good health. We would say kenko wa taisetsu desu. But if kenko, well, kenko is also a noun. So in theory, it could go in this list as a na adjective, as lots of things can. But there'll be no problem with saying something like, let me just give you an example. If you wanted to say that peace is important, then you could say shizuka wa taisetsu desu. Shizuka wa.
So then you don't need the no. Yeah, okay.
Quite.
Good.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's just saying one thing, A equals B.
Yeah.
There was another example that I gave this morning, which, again, I can't remember it exactly if this is true. But if you're saying healthy food, I think I'm right in thinking that you shouldn't say say, for example, I'm saying healthy sushi, just as an example. Sushi, which is good for you. You shouldn't, in principle, say genki na sushi. You should say genki no sushi, because it's not that the sushi appears to be healthy. The sushi is healthful. It is a part of healthfulness.
Yeah.
But in fact, in Japan at the moment, there are lots of shops which sell genki na sushi. Maybe it's because legally they're not allowed to say genki no sushi, because sushi is not genki at all. But if you look, yeah, Andre, go ahead.
I think genki na sushi, like, you might think the piece of fish meat is still living.
Yeah, it could be this. Yeah, the fish was healthy before we killed it. Yeah. Before we chopped its head off, the fish was very healthy. It could be this. Yeah. But if you look on, so the reason why I'm not being very specific about this at the moment is that if you look on that web page, it actually expresses that it's not a binary state of it's either na or no. There are some of these which have got the tendency to be no, and some of them have the tendency to be more na. So they've actually got a chart up, and there's about 5 columns. The leftmost column is those which would normally be na, and then the rightmost column is those that need to be no. And then in between, you've got the sort of grayer areas.
Yeah,
so it's a little bit like the context is important. Yeah. But we'll come back to those later.
Yeah, good.
What I wanted to do today really was work on using them as an adjective and then using them as an adverb, because to be honest, I very rarely found myself using something no to say this.
Yeah. Okay, thank you.
Okay, no problem. Thank you.
I have a question.
Sure, go ahead.
You mentioned that you use de to join na adjectives.
Yes.
How would you join a na adjective with an e adjective?
Yeah, good question. So you could, if you only had 2 in a sentence, if you had the na adjective first, then you'd say adjective de and then e adjective in its full self. And then of course, if you swap it round, it would be something kute, and then so let's give you some examples.
You can use strange and difficult hen and musukashi,
yeah.
for example.
So you could say kare wa muzukashikute hen na hito desu. Muzukashikute hen na hito. Or change it round. Kare wa hen de muzukashi hito desu. Yeah. So I mean, the best thing to do is with these rules is to visualize the adjectives having these suffixes actually locked against them. They become single words by themselves. So it doesn't matter too much if they're in a block of a mix of e adjectives and na adjectives all in one sentence. Just fix the de to na adjectives and fix the kute to the e adjectives.
Okay.
Yeah. Are you, Annika, do you do computer programming by any chance? Are you a programmer? No. Okay. Right. Cool. Should we do
I
some
am, if it helps.
No.
Okay.
Right. Okay. Let's do some examples, shall we? Just unlock my tablet. 私の便利なタブレットを unlock します. Okay. Right. Let's start with Annika. Annika, how would you say, "Are you well"? Let's start with an easy one.
Genki desu ka?
Hi, genki desu ka? We can get through these really quickly, I think. Simon, how would you say, "That is a pretty dress, isn't it"? That is a pretty dress, isn't it?
これは
Simon, that's this.
this one.
You say
Yeah.
that
Right.
one.
That over there.
Yes. No, that's one that you have.
That
The
one
that
you
you're
have.
wearing. Yeah.
それは
Look-
yeah. それは pretty 好きな dress.
This means likable. Pretty
right.
is kirei.
Pretty kirei.
Kirei.
Yeah, right,
Yeah.
right. Okay. それは綺麗な dress です。
Yes. How would you say, "Isn't it"?
ですか?
That means, is it?
Is it? ではありませんですか?
You can just say, you can just use the French. Use the French. Use the French.
Huh?
Use the French.
Use the?
French. The French word.
ね。
N'est-ce pas? Is ne.
N'est-ce pas?
Ne.
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 Oh, right.
Yeah.
ですね.
Yes. Good.
Okay.
Yeah. Sorry, wa kirei na dress desu ne. Hi. How would you say? So let's now also make the second version of this sentence. How would you say, "That dress is pretty, isn't it"?
そのドレスは綺麗ですね.
Yes, good. そのドレスが綺麗ですね. Good. Guys, just as a general rule, when we're using these na adjectives, try to make sure that the noun that comes before it, 99% of the time it will be marked with ga. So get used to saying something ga tsuki desu, like sushi ga tsuki desu, biru ga tsuki desu, Trump ga kirai desu. Just try to get used to putting ga on at the end of all of these things, because almost certainly it will be ga rather than wa or anything else. Okay, thanks, Simon. Sorry. Manuel, how would you say, "Over there is a peaceful park"? Over there is a peaceful park.
あそこに、ハウスパーク、
公園。
公園。あそこに、静かな公園です。
はい。
静かな公園がです。
Not ga des. I thought you were going to go for the real super answer, which would be, use the existence verb. Use the existence verb.
Okay. あります。
Yes. So
Okay.
can you say the whole sentence?
あそこに、 静かな公園があります。
Perfect. あそこに静かな公園があります。If you said des, it'll be fine. It'll be understood.
はい、うん、
But if we're going to use really sophisticated Japanese, we would say there is a peaceful park over there, rather than that is a peaceful park over there. Yeah. Good. Okay, thanks. Andre, how would you say I like Mexican food?
No. How do you say Mexican in Japanese?
Mexico. Mexico.
あ、メキシコ料理が好きです。
Good. How do you say I really like Mexican food?
本当にメキシコ料理が好きです。
Did we just lose somebody, by the way, or did we just swap around? Tom, did you come back or? Oh, right. Okay. Yeah. So you can say hontoni, which means really I like it, but how do you say I really like it? I much like Mexican food.
メキシコ料理が大好きです。
Daisuki desu. Daisuki means I really like it. Daisuki desu. Good. Thanks, Andre. Now I've lost the order. I think, Joel, I think you are next. How would you say I absolutely hate octopus? I really hate octopus.
Octopus is
Taco,
taco.
which almost comes from Mexican food. Taco.
タコが大嫌いです。
Yeah, good. Daikirai desu. Daikirai. Daisuki. Daikirai.
嫌い。
Daikirai desu. Excellent. Annika. Actually, I'm just going to jump to Tom. Sorry. Tom, how would you say Charles is a strange person?
Charles-san wa
Good.
strange
Strange person.
変な人です。
Good. Charles-san ga henni, or Charles-san wa henna hito desu. How would you say Charles is strange?
チャールさんは変です。
Hendes. Yeah, just Hendes.
変で
Good.
す。
Yeah, perfect. Charles-san ga Hendes.
変です。
Annika, let's give you a more challenging one this time. How would you say? Usually, I like to eat simple food. Usually, I like to eat simple food.
It starts with don't knowing usually.
Isn't this on? I think this is one of the na adjectives, isn't it? Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So I start like futsu, just food.
Yeah, but basically we're using futsu as an adverb in this case. Usually is an adverb. So we would say futsu.
Futsu de.
No, so for adverbs we have to use ni.
Ni. Oh, okay. Futsu ni. What was the rest?
I've forgotten actually. I like to eat simple food, or I like simple food. Or you could say, because I'm German, I usually like to eat simple food.
Deutsch sogar. No.
Deutsch料理はすごく簡単です。
So, oh God. Futsu ni. I like simple food.
Or say, let's make it easy first, though. So let's
Yeah.
make a sentence. I like to eat, or I want to eat simple food. I want to eat simple food.
Kantan gohan.
Kantan, and then we need a particle.
Kantan. Oh God. Kantan na.
Good.
Kantan na gohan. No. Yeah.
Yeah,
Or
that's it. Yeah, good.
gohan tabetai.
Good. Tabetai
This.
des. Good. Excellent. Good. Can you say it one more
Okay.
time? Yeah. That's good.
Kantan na
So
Ah,
usually,
no. Futsu ni kantan na gohan tabetai desu.
kantan na gohan, and then what's next?
Gohan o tabetai desu.
Good. Kantan no gohan o tabetai desu. Actually, we can actually make this a little bit easier because you said gohan. This means food, and then you said tabe. You basically said tabemasu at the end. So it's pretty obvious that in this sentence there's two things which mean food and eating. You can actually just say things. So kantan na mono o tabetai desu. I like to eat simple things. Yeah. It's a funny thing actually. In Japanese language, if a word becomes redundant because of another word in the sentence, they usually change the sentence structure. So if you said, this morning I ate breakfast, sometimes a Japanese person would look at you a bit strangely and say, when else would you eat breakfast? So of course you ate it in the morning.
Could I also take instead of gohan tabemono?
So this is even worse because you've now got tabemono and tabemasu.
Tabetai. Okay.
Yeah. So it's better to just have mono.
Okay.
Kantan mono o tabetai desu. I like to eat simple things.
So it's in the context to say a mono is something to eat. Then.
Yeah, exactly in this context. Yes,
Okay.
exactly. Yes, exactly. Yeah. I like
Sorry,
to eat.
could you say ryori? Kantan ryori?
Kantan ryori.
Simple cuisine.
I can eat simple. Yeah, that's fine. But again, that's fine. That's fine. Yeah, I don't want to labour too much on it. What Annika first said, which was kantan gohan. This is absolutely fine. I'm just trying to help us to make really sophisticated sentences which are really slick. But you could say ryori. But again, this has that same redundancy of ryori and tabetai desu. So just by making something much simpler, like mono, things, then it just makes it a little bit more of an efficient sentence. Yeah. Unlike English people, try not to use 30 words when 5 will do. Yeah. Okay. Who haven't I done? Has everybody had a go? Good. Okay. Let's start again. Joel, how would you say this rule is terribly important? This rule is terribly important.
What would you say rule?
Rule is kisoku.
Kisoku.
Yeah.
この規則は大切です。
Good. So この規則が大
この規
切です。
則が大切です。
Yes. Yeah. But I want you to now use a superlative. I'd like you to use terribly.
Like die.
So there's actually another list. There's another adjective in this list which means terribly, I think.
Terrible.
Oh yeah, there is. So 5th from the bottom. Taihen.
Okay. Okay. この規則が大変で、what's important?
大切。
大変で大切です。
Good. You fell into my cunning trap. So what you actually said was, this rule is terrible and important.
Okay.
So taihen can be used as an adjective unto itself to mean difficult, but it can be used as a superlative, as a superlative or as an adverb.
Adverb.
But
Okay.
it just sits by itself. So it's just taihen, taisetsu desu.
Taihen, not taihen ni taisetsu desu.
No. So it's a bit like totemo.
Okay.
A little bit like totemo. Yeah.
So この規則が大変大切です。
Exactly. この規則が大変大切です. This is a good alternative to totemo because totemo is quite formal and it's usually used in writing rather than speech. Taihen is a really nice alternative for totemo. Yeah, good. Andre, how would you say this is a necessary piece of luggage? This is a necessary piece of luggage.
これは必要な荷物です。
Excellent. これは必要な荷物です. Andre, how would you say this luggage is necessary.
この荷物は必要です。
Excellent. この荷物は必要です. Guys, this is quite a useful sentence actually, not the nimotsu bit, not the luggage bit, but something is necessary means I need this. Something ga hitsuyou desu. Watashi ga nomimono ga hitsuyou desu. I need a drink. It's a really useful phrase to remember because it is not using any verbs. And there is a verb way of saying this. There's a verb which is irimasu, which means I need. But you can use this really simple thing to say something ga hitsuyou desu, something is necessary. Yeah. Iaido keiko ga motto hitsuyou desu. I need to do much more iaido keiko. Yeah. Okay, good. Thanks, Andre. Manuel, how would you say guys, we're going to now start getting into slightly more complex sentences. I don't mean the level of Japanese is getting harder, but now as we get to these sentences which are a little bit less well defined, I don't mind how you make these sentences. You might choose one way of saying it, you might choose another way of saying it. It's really up to you. You can now start to exercise your ability to freestyle, put sentences together using the words that you know, rather than trying to fulfill my expectations. So, Manuel, I'd like you to say, my French is bad. My French is bad.
私のフランス語が、ダメです。
Oh, good. Perfect. It's a really good answer. 私のフランス語がダメです. My French is absolutely no good. Yeah, good. How would you say my French is not skillful?
私のフランス語が、下手です。
Good. 私のフランス語
私の
が
フランスが、下手です。
Good. Yeah, 私のフランス語が下手です. Okay, so let's use another way. How would you say I cannot speak French very skillfully?
フランス語が、上手、フランス語が上手な、上手に、
Sorry, Jaws.
okay.
What's he saying?
I don't know. 上手に、話せません。
Really good. So I'm just a bit confused about the particle that was after fransko. What do you think you should use here?
フランス。
Let me
フランス語で、
Yeah, good.
フランス語、okay. フランス語で、上手、に、話せません。
Really good. Fransko de Jaws ni hanasemasen. Well, really good, really good. If you want to say not very, so we're going to have this this kind of negative I don't know what's the opposite of a superlative. The opposite, I don't know, but this kind of opposite adverb. We can use, instead of say, for example, totemo jozu or taihen jozu, we can use amari, not very, amari.
Amari.
So this would be amari, and then you should use
Amari.
some sort of negative statement.
So, but you still do the negative verb.
Yes, yeah.
Okay.
And you still have to use jozu as well. Yeah.
So it would be like anari jozu ni hanasemasen.
Really good. Yes,
okay.
Exactly. Amari jozu ni hanasemasen. Good. Excellent. Guys, here's a little note actually. it's a kind of a little bit of an exception. So we've got this this na adjective jozu, meaning skillful. So in this sentence that Manuel just used, he was using it in the negative, so it's good. But if you use it in the affirmative for yourself, it sounds a little bit conceited. So there's a different adjective that you should use to say, I am skillful. And this adjective actually means it's my speciality, which in English sounds even more conceited, but in Japanese it doesn't sound so conceited, which is tokui, 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 tokui. It's an E adjective, of course.
So tokui means skillful.
Yeah, for you only, for yourself.
For me only.
Yeah, yeah. So there's a funny thing in the Iaido. If you've got your favorite kata in Iaido that you pull out when you're going to a taikai, this is called your tokui waza, your speciality form, tokui waza. What it actually is, it's toku, special, and I, good. So if you want to say this is not special for me, it will be toku yokunai. Toku yokunai. Just to make things a bit more confusing.
So it's not an E adjective.
It is. It's toku I.
Toku I. So
Yeah.
we can use just tokui as an E adjective
Yes.
on its own.
Yeah, toku yokata. Yeah, actually, let me just confirm that because I'm not so sure actually now I say it.
Okay.
Let me come back to you because I'll actually make some notes about this, about the nat adjectives on the Facebook group, and I'll include that in there.
Okay.
I might be wrong about this, but tokui is what you use for yourself to say, Watashi wa pan o tsukuru koto ni, making bread. Watashi wa tokui desu. It's my speciality. I'm special. Yeah. Yes, you are special, Andy. You're very special. Okay, Simon, let's do jazz Japanese and freestyle a sentence together. Okay, the convenience store is very convenient.
Do you actually say convenience store with the convenient or convenience?
So the word for convenience store is kombini, which is very easy to remember. Kombini.
Kombini. Convenient benri. Kombini benri desu.
Kombini.
Kombini ga benri desu.
Okay,
Yes.
good. The convenience store is really convenient.
Kombini ga well, basically dai benri desu.
So
or do you mean that
you can use dai with some of those adjectives,
okay,
but not benri, I'm afraid. Sorry.
Then you can use the terrible thing, right?
Yeah.
Which is kombini tai. How is it? Taihen benri desu.
Yeah, really good. Kombini ga taihen benri desu. Good. How about this is a very convenient store?
これは便利な、これは大変便利なコンビニです。
Really good. Yes. これは大変便利なコンビニです. I'm laughing because it sounds funny about saying this is a convenient store.
I mean, it sounds fun in English as well. So.
That's good. Thanks, Simon. Tom, how would you say the stairs are inconvenient for old people? The stairs are inconvenient for old people.
The stairs?
Kaidan.
Kaidan.
が
不便です。
Good. 階段が不便です. So that's the stairs are inconvenient. And now, how would you say the stairs are inconvenient for old people?
All people. There's Kaidan. Kaidan ga fuben and for old people. Old people is Toshiori.
Good. Yeah, Toshiori.
Toshi, but for
Yeah.
Toshiori.
So there's a few ways
Or.
of yeah. Actually, not or, but there's a few ways of marking them as being the subject of this problem. And one of the ways of doing it is to say ni. It is inconvenient to old people. It's inconvenient to old people.
Ga would also be good, or?
Well, kaidan is actually the thing that you're marking with ga. That's the only problem.
So only Sony. Okay.
Yeah. Otherwise, what you could be saying is old people are inconvenient if you're not careful.
No. Okay. Kaidan ga Toshiori ni fuben desu.
Excellent. Kaidan ga Toshiori ni fuben desu. Good. Excellent. Well done, Tom. Annika. I like sushi, but I cannot eat raw fish. I like sushi, but I cannot eat raw fish.
Sushi o daisuki desu? No.
Not sushi or, but.
Sushi ga?
Yep, good.
Daisuki desu?
Hi.
Ga I cannot eat is taberaremasen.
Good, yeah. Sushi ga daisuki desu ga taberaremasen. I like sushi. I really love sushi, but I can't eat it.
Okay, but raw fish. I forgot raw fish.
That's part 2. Yeah.
Okay. Sakara is fish.
Yes.
And
raw fish. Do you know raw fish?
Raw fish.
Nama sakana.
Nama sakana. Sushi ga daisuki desu. Ga no
Nama.
nama sakara o taberaremasen.
Not or. Remember, this is the potential, isn't it?
Okay. Nama sakara.
Sorry, Annika, I just need to correct your pronunciation. Sakana. Sakana.
Sakana. Okay. Nama sakana.
Good.
And the particle is.
Do you remember what it is for the potential form? For the ability form?
Yeah. No, I didn't. I don't know it.
It's ga. It's ga.
Ga. Okay. Yeah. Sushi ga daisuki desu. Ga nama sakana ga taberaremasen.
Perfect. Sushi ga daisuki desu ga nama sakana ga taberaremasen. Excellent. Good. If you get bored of saying ga in sentences, if you want to kind of move on to something else, you can use kedo, keredomo in the place of but, because we need to use ga quite often for marking the objects in that example sentence, for example. But one thing we can change out is but. So we could say sushi ga daisuki desu keredomo, or daisuki desu kedo, nama sakana ga taberaremasen. You don't have to. You can use ga. Keredomo is like saying though. So it is a kind of reflex. So A, however, B. And it's a nice way of kind of breaking your sentence up instead of saying the same things. Kedo. Yeah, good. David, how would you say? Sorry, give me a second. You jumped right in at the deep end, David. Okay, here we go. Ready? Usually, I don't like eggs, but I can make omelets really well because they are simple. Usually, I don't like eggs, but I can make omelets really well because they are simple.
えっと、usually is 普通
And it's basically an adverb at the beginning of the sentence, so you need to make it futsu,
普通な
not na, it's
ね
adverb.
adverb 普通
So for na adjectives, adverbs are marked with
普通なん普通なん
に
普通に
ni, futsuni. Yeah.
普通に or 普通に
Futsuni, futsuni.
Okay. So 普通に
I don't like eggs.
卵が卵が is that hate as in 嫌い
Yeah, but let's
Or-
use the negative of ski. Let's use the negative form of
好
ski.
きません
Actually, correct. Yes, you can say skimasen because it's also a verb. But I'd like you to use this ski and then the negative of des. What's the
dear.
negative of des? Ski dewa.
好きではありません
Good. Ski dewa arimasen.
So-
But
ありませんが
because they are simple, I can make omelets really well. Because they are simple, I can make omelets really well.
simple is
Kantan.
簡単ですから I like making them
I can make them. But we haven't said what we're making yet, so you have to
オムレット
specify.
が
Good.
料理 or 作り
It's up to you. We're on jazz. We're on jazz Japanese now. It's free choice.
作ります
Skurimas means I will make. How would you say I can make?
I can make 作れています
That's I'm making.
I am making noise
You got it almost right. Not te imas, but just
作ります
skuremas.
作れます
Skurimas. Yeah, good.
oh dear
Skurimas. That's okay. It's all right. We're just now doing jazz Japanese, so it doesn't matter if you make a mistake. Okay, so usually I don't like eggs, but I can make omelets really well because they are simple.
普通に卵が
Ski?
卵が好きではありませんが
Good.
オムレットが
Simple.
簡単オムレットが簡単ですから
Good.
作れます
Good. Excellent. Well done. CPU fan and blowing really hot now. Tamago ga amari suki dewa arimasen ga omelette ga kantan desu kara tsukurimasu. Excellent. Well done.
怒ることをお詫びします
Hi.
Sorry for being late
Oh, that's good. No problem.
I have a question.
Sure. Yeah. Goes on.
In the same way that we can use the kute form for instead of descara when we use e adjectives, can we do the same here?
For the na adjectives, you mean?
Yes, like using de or something similar.
Yeah. Josunano ni, josunano de. Sorry, give me a second. I just need to remember. Yeah. Sorry, we did this morning and I've already forgotten. Ski nano de means as. Ski nano de.
Sukinano de.
So it's the na adjective as the noun, just the word. Nano de. Nano de.
Not de.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Tamago ga. Usually futsu ni tamago ga suki de wa arimasen ga kantan nano de
Kantan nano de. Okay.
omelette ga tsukurimasu. Yeah. Tom, sorry, go ahead.
I don't want to be difficult, but what would the answer be if we used ryobi? Then we used with suvo?
Dekimasu. So
Dekimasu.
you mean for David?
He was doubting, so now I want to know the answer.
Okay. So you could say, watashi wa, unspoken, tamago ga amari suki de wa arimasen ga, omelette ga kantan desu kara, ryori dekimasu.
Dekimasu.
Yeah. So ryori dekimasu or ryori ga dekimasu depends in that sentence where you put omelette. Actually, you just say ryori dekimasu. Ryori dekimasu.
Dekimasu.
Yeah. Annika, dozo.
But isn't it a double thing if I take omelette as something to eat, and then ryori also something to eat, or?
Oh, so this is cooking rather than.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Okay. Good. Right. Let's do. In a second. Got two more we can do in this time, I think. Let's see. Simon, how would you say? Peter cannot speak German very well, but he likes Germany because it is quiet. Peter cannot speak German very well, but he likes Germany because it is very quiet.
But wouldn't you use the E adjective? Well, or like you kunai?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, this is a really
Okay.
good way of saying.
Or
if you want to say he speaks German well, it'd be yoku. Is a really good way of using it. Yeah.
Peter-san, Deutsche o yokunai.
So let me just let's tidy up as we go. So Peter-san wa Deutsche go. Okay, so I would suggest actually that we would make this sentence Peter-san no Deutsche go ga.
Okay.
Is not very good. Peter's German is not very good.
Peter-san no Deutsche go ga. I don't have the unskilled.
So if you want to be
my
so
list here, but
so it's heta. It is on the list, but it's quite a strong word to use actually for somebody else. So I think not good would be a better thing to say.
So what I said, you yokunai. Okay, Peter-san no Deutsche go ga yokunai desu.
Good. However,
ga,
he likes Germany because it's quiet.
Okay, karedomo Deutsche is the country.
Good.
He likes. So if I say it's good, then it's more like me, or
no. If you said so at the moment Peter is still kind of the subject, even though we said Peter no Deutsche go. We've already sort of shone the light on it to say, well, it's Peter we're talking about. So you.
So then it's just also keredomo Deutsche ga suki desu.
Good. Because it is quiet.
Because it's quiet. Well then, because it's quiet. Quiet.
Shizuka, peaceful.
Shizuka.
Yeah.
Right. But then I would like to take this first. Let me start over.
Sure.
Peter-san no Deutsche go ga yokunai desu. Keredomo Shizuka, right?
Sorry, Shizuka, yes. Yeah.
Shizuka.
He said Shizuoka.
Shizuka de. Deutsche go Shizuka de suki desu.
Okay, should we do it one more time?
ピーターさんのドイツ語が、いや、良くないですけれども、ドイツが静かでから or not
ですから。静かですから because it is
静
quiet.
かですから。Okay. 静かですから、好きです。
Great. You've just said exactly what the English sentence said. There are different ways to say this. So you could have said Doitsu ga shizuka nano de suki desu. But shizuka desu kara is a really good get out of jail free card. You can just stick that in the sentence and you're making it very clear that you're giving a cause for the thing that's coming next. So now starting to, as these lessons, we're now in lesson 10, aren't we? We're now getting into conversation Japanese rather than new introduction of grammar. This is going to be about the selection and just getting used to saying things which come to you. So shizuka desu kara suki desu. This is perfectly understood. Yeah, good, excellent. Let's do one last one. Andre, how about this one? I am well, although my stomach hurts, so I cannot eat much at the moment. I am well, but I'm well, although my stomach hurts, so I cannot eat much at the moment.
元気ですけど、お腹が痛いですから、たくさん食べられません。
Excellent. Yes. Perfect. Perfect. Genki desu keredomo, onaka ga itai desu kara, amari takusan taberaremasen. So amari is also, you can throw in there if you want to. Yeah. Good. Excellent. Okay, guys, we've actually got through all the exercises really quickly. That was really good. So we've got 10 minutes left. Perhaps just before we have questions and problems, unless you've got lots of questions. Do we have, how many people have got questions? Just put your fingers up like this if you've got a question or a problem. Good, okay. Let me just spend the last 10 minutes explaining an unscheduled part of today. So it's another kind of, what's it called? It's a conditional. It's a really easy conditional to use, but you can't use it everywhere. And the conditional is nara. Nara means in the case of. So you can say in the case of A, then B. You have to. It's possible to use this clumsily if you don't remember the conditional forms that we're going to do in the next few weeks. So you could say, "Suki nara tabete kudasai." If you like it, please eat it. "Suki nara tabete kudasai." But this is very, how can I say, skeletal Japanese, really using just the bare bones of Japanese. There are better ways to say, if you like it, then please eat it. "Suki nara tabete kudasai." Nara is usually used after a noun, actually. So I've got to be careful because there's actually two kind of forms like this. There's nara and there's norbai. Norbai. Bai means in the incidence of, which usually means something like, if there is a fire, then please leave the building. Kaji norbai ni biru o dete kudasai. But nara is a very kind of soft, easy to use in the case of nara. Samui nara. Okay, so instead of saying please do something, nara is probably better to use when you're saying it would be better to do something if this happens. So, for example, if you say yuki nara in the case of snow, koto o kitta hou ga ii desu. It's better to wear a coat. yuki nara koto o kita hoga ii desu. It's better to, in the case of snow, it's better to wear a coat. We are going to come back to nara at a future time in a bit more detail, but I thought this is quite a nice time to throw this in there because these na adjectives go quite well with nara because they're nouns. So benri nara, if it's convenient, you can cross the road. Oh, sorry, if it's safe. Anzen nara, anzen means safety. Anzen nara, doro o otate kudasai. Please cross the road if it's safe. Okay, any questions or problems? Wow, that many. Good. That's good. Right, thanks, guys. We are slowly now starting to move into conversational Japanese. I'm still going to introduce more grammar, but now that the range of grammar that you've got is so big, it's now going to get to the point where you can make sentences in a variety of different ways. So we're going to start making a little bit more freestyle for making sentences, because I want you to say things that you remember and know how to use rather than fulfill my expectations. If we focus on one particular kind of grammar and I give you examples which work on that piece of grammar, then of course I want you to practice that grammar. But for most of the practices, we're going to be doing something which is a bit more free and easy. Just an interesting observation. I found, sorry, let me just take off the microphone a second. I found my Japanese grammar book. So if you learn Japanese outside of Japan, you quite normally use a book called Japanese for Busy People. But if you're learning Japanese as a foreigner in Japan, then they quite often use these Shin Nihongo no Kiso. It's kind of standard Japanese for foreign people. Oh, you've got Annika. Excellent. Good. Is that the grammar book or the exercise book? Grammar. So I found my book 2. So this is kind of from 8 months, from full-time study. After about 6 or 8 months, you'll probably work on to book 2. You guys have done nearly half of this already. So you all nearly already know more than half of the grammar. And I can assure you, you know more than half of the difficult grammar. If the grammar is measured in volume of time required to learn it based on difficulty, you're already past halfway. So you guys are moving really quick. Next week, we're going to try Japanese study while very, very drunk so that you can see whether or not you can have conversations at sayonara parties with Japanese senseis without losing the opportunity to pass a grading in the future. Okay, do you want to unmute yourselves, guys? Okay, if there's no questions or problems, I take it.
I have one question.
Good,
so
okay, good.
last Sunday we had the Japanese speaking session, and so the subject of the grammar was the no hoga ... yori.
Yep.
Will we revising that also?
We will. Yeah. It's for me now it's quite difficult to select topics because there's still quite a lot of things to learn, but none of them are as hard as the te form. So now it's like everything we do is just like a bit of a pleasure really, because it's just you learn a couple of simple rules and then you're using it. It's like taking tools out of the toolbox rather than learning how to build the toolbox first. Yeah, so we will come back to that. I'm now stuck as to which subject to do next, which is the most useful. It might be the conditional form.
Okay.
If then statements.
It's to know if I understood correct. So. Then,
oh yeah, we will definitely come back to it for sure. Yeah, guys, just so you know, next week if France doesn't go into lockdown, I'll be going on holiday to France, so I won't be here. But I'll let you know later on towards the weekend. It really depends on COVID. Okay, thanks very much for your time this evening, guys.
Thank you very much.
See you
Thank
soon.
you.
Matane.
Matane.
Bye. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.